It's great to be here to just really support the Western Australian-based companies that are exhibiting or participating in the Avalon Airshow. We want to make sure that everyone knows Western Australia isn't just about maritime defence players. It's also about aviation. It's also about land. We've got everything in Western Australia, and a lot of it ultimately is sourced back to that capability derived from meeting the needs of the offshore oil and gas and mining industries. Mainly to reinforce the message from the Indo-Pacific Defence Conference, from the launch of our strategy, letting them know what our focus is on, letting them know where our capabilities are, and ensuring that they understood we are not about wasting taxpayers' money, time and effort on our behalf on competing with other states where we don't have strengths, but to sell our strengths, which is the capabilities, the innovation, the flexibility and adaptation that's derived from meeting the needs of offshore oil and gas and mining, and applying that to meeting defence needs in the interests of the nation. What a lot of Australians, particularly those on the eastern seaboard, are not aware of is that Western Australia is the autonomous centre of the world, really, as far as global operations of autonomous vehicles, unmanned aerial vehicles, unmanned underwater vehicles, unmanned land vehicles, vehicles like trucks and trains operating thousands of kilometres from a control centre. Western Australia is where it happens. It is the knowledge around making systems that meet the needs of the mining and offshore oil and gas sector means that we have universities that are focused on research and development in the field of autonomy, probably better than anywhere in the world, really, and applying that to meeting their needs. We can easily turn that to defence, and we have. We've now got all of our universities working together on a within a Team WA approach, and we'll very shortly be creating the Defence Science Centre in Western Australia to give real effect to tapping into that knowledge and capability that's from the offshore oil and gas and mining sectors and applying it to defence. We have capability people are not even aware of. There are some companies who have been doing things right around the world without any support or very little support from the federal government, if at all, and some support from the state, but not much. So what we're looking to do is elevate awareness of what they do and what they've achieved, and also harness their knowledge and encourage them to mentor and support other newer players in the field. One of the great examples, for instance, recently visited Orbital, based in Balcatta, a little company based in Balcatta. Many West Australians are familiar with the name and the company, but they very shortly will be the sole suppliers of engines for Boeing's mid-range UAVs right around the world. That's an extraordinary achievement, worth hundreds of millions of dollars in contracts to them, dozens of engineers and technicians employed right there in Western Australia, delivering world-class expertise and capability from Western Australia, and that's something people need to know about. The Premier and I visited Airbus in the UK when we went there last year. They'd looked all around the world for the best place to develop their capabilities around their Zephyr prototype pseudo-satellite, which is effectively solar-powered aircraft, very light construction, able to go up high in altitude during the daytime, get the power from the sun, and provide a lot of the same capabilities as a satellite, but in a far cheaper and more efficient manner, because they can move it around, they can bring it down, change the load, the payload, and change the tasking much easier than a satellite. They're going to base that research and development out of Wyndham in Western Australia. It's a fortunate thing. It turns out it's geographically the perfect location. That's a great thing, but they are committed to Western Australia. They're working with the local council in Kununurra and also working with the state government to ensure we get benefit out of workforce being employed, technology knowledge, and ultimately, when that capability is developed in Western Australia, it adds to the case for Western Australia being a really serious player in the field of UAVs, space technology. We're already the home of the European Space Agency's ground station, tracking station. And of course we've got the square kilometre array being built near Geraldton. So there's an enormous amount of knowledge and capability most people in Australia, let alone the world, wouldn't know we have right in Western Australia. People will be happy to hear that we've created positions for an executive director and an assistant in Defence West, and we're going to market now to seek out suitably qualified, skilled and experienced individuals to fill those roles and lead the team at Defence West supporting our state's industries. We are also right now working with the federal government, with the DSTG, to recruit a senior scientist to be the head of research and development at the Defence Science Centre, and we'll also get an assistant head of research at the Defence Science Centre, and that'll be done by June this year. In July, we anticipate we will have our research and development grant scheme up and running, and we'll be calling for submissions for research and development grants in the defence sector. All the universities are on board, federal government's on board, DSTG are playing. This is a really significant step forward where we can reach into that reservoir of knowledge and skills developed meeting the needs of offshore oil and gas and mining and apply it to the needs of defence in the national interest. We are also working on collaboratively with the federal government and with Defence on an infrastructure plan for the state. There is a cross-government task force working right now on putting together our future, a plan for meeting the needs of defence in Western Australia in collaboration with Defence. Very much focused on Henderson naturally, with a view to the needs of the Navy into the future, but also right across the state defence infrastructure needs, so that we can have a plan submitted to the federal government in a considered and consolidated way. We are also working to establish the Indo-Pacific Defence Conference as an annual event, and this year, fortunately, the American-Australian Leadership Dialogue is happening in Perth in August. That'll be on a Friday and Saturday. We're anticipating now we will have our Indo-Pacific Defence Conference on the following Monday. We'll be able to tap into all of the American Congress men and women and administrators and defence personnel who attend the AALD. We'll seek to try and retain them in the state for a little bit longer and attend our conference, so we've got a bit more grunt associated with that event than we would otherwise have got, and both events will benefit from that. That work will be being done, and we'll be publicising that shortly so people can get in there and book their participation. Once again, the objective of our conference, unlike some others, is not to make money. It's about promoting the interests of our industry and providing particularly our smaller to medium enterprises access to the world stage without a big outlay. So we won't be looking to charge people a lot of money, but we will be bringing good contacts, potential collaborators and partners to the state with a view to helping them make networks, build networks and look for opportunity without having to pay a lot of money. Great opportunity to see our really high achieving small businesses in the aviation sector, aviation defence sector, in operation out there pitching their wares and selling themselves. That's a great thing, and being here to support them is good. And we will now be taking the opportunity wherever we can to promote what they do in Western Australia, what their capabilities are, and letting the world know that there's a lot more to Western Australia than just shipbuilding, although obviously we are best at that.